Welcome, everybody. It is 2 days before Christmas. It is December 23rd. Let's just drop into a mini meditation and then we'll see what happens. Go and close your eyes. Just take a few breaths. Slow breath in. Quiet breath out. Deep breath in. Relaxed breath out. See if you can still the fluctuations of the mind and begin to find the space between the inhales and the exhales. What helps a lot for that is counting your breaths. So as a group, let's exhale together and inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause for a second. Exhaling, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause and hold it. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. Keep a cycle of breath that's going. Inhaling slowly. Exhaling deeply. And finding the space between the thoughts. The magic is in that space. Stay here for a few minutes in silence as you simply breathe and get quiet. Perhaps noticing what's happening to your body. Perhaps noticing the jaw softening, shoulders maybe letting go, hips maybe relaxing. Just notice that with your mind. Take about 4 or 5 more slow, conscious breaths. And then the awareness to kick in will start to come back. So when you are feeling ready, just very slowly start to reemerge at your own pace. Opening your eyes, knowing that it's brighter out here, a little bit more alert. And go ahead and open your eyes, coming back. So great to see you all. Some newer faces to the live calls. So great to see you all. So when I was prepping what to prep for today's class, what happens if you don't know is I get intuitively guided. So I did a couple of Instagram and TikTok things this morning because when I was meditating, I heard do this. I was like, okay, I'll do it. And same thing for this class. So what I'm going to do, especially for those who are newer to the school community, what I do on the 10 o'clock on Mondays is I usually teach something for about 20 to 30 minutes. Then I open up to Q&A coaching. It might be less, maybe 15 to 20 minutes. I don't know. And then open up to Q&A coaching. I do have a stop today at 11 because I have a client at 11. But other than that, we're good to go. So sometimes they're half an hour, 45 minutes. Sometimes they're an hour. We'll see what happens. So what our guides want me to talk about today is this concept of a little I or big I. Before I go into that, I want to remind everybody, we have what's called guides, or our divine support team is the other word I use. So each of us have 2 or 3 primary guides that have been with us lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And you don't need to know who they are or what they represent or anything like that. You just need to know they're there. Some people will spend their lifetime trying to figure out what their names are, how old they are. There's a lot more to learn in the spiritual world. So you have 2 or 3. That's all you need to know. And they all just send the energy of love. Then on top of that, you have your ancestors, which are your deceased loved ones, some which you knew, some which you didn't know. Cool. Then you also have what's called the Archangel realm, or the Ascended Masters realm, and that's like Buddha, Archangel Michael, Lord Krishna, Sai Baba, Jesus Christ, whoever you believe in. And then you also have what I give a lot of attention to Divine Mother, which is the feminine energy. And most of you have been to my classes before, know that this feminine energy got really strong at COVID, and it's going to continue to get strong next year, the calendar year 2025, because it's right now it's about the rebalancing of the masculine patriarchy, not male energy. I want to make that really, really clear because I'm 50% guy, 50% girl, just so you all know, okay? And so are all of you, but it's a rebalancing of that energy. So those are the energies that I work with. And so all of Carlene's and Joey's and Tina's divine support teams connect to mine. And, you know, not Divi's brain, but the energy body knows who's going to be here. And then like all of our guides collectively get together and they tell me what to teach. That's how it works. Because everybody who shows up, maybe something's going on and maybe something's not, which is totally cool. But through what I'm about to share and teach and then coach, it's to hopefully help you through whatever wobble you're experiencing in life. And I always find the holidays are a good time for wobbles, especially if you're visiting family. So it's a good time. So what we're going to talk about today is the big I and the little I. And I talk a lot about this in both the Healing Lab and Return to Self. But what do those words mean? So we've all heard the word soul or spirit. What is that word? That is the non-physical part of us that goes lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Got it? And every soul is on a journey. And the soul is the part of us that speaks to us in our intuition. It's the non-physical part of us that says, Judes, you're on the right path. You're on the right path. You're on the right path. And that's the soul part of us, the non-physical part of us. So that's the word I'll use for the big I am. So the I am energy is the truth of who you are. The part of you that was never hurt, never in pain, never in problem. And we have the little I. The little I is the character, the personality, the story. Okay, most of us by this stage in our development know we all have stories, right? I have a story that my dad controlled me. I have a story that right? So the little I and the big I. And all of the work that I teach is about people moving people from their mental construct of the little I to the big I. The more time you spend in the big I, all the money you want, all the relationships you want, all the health you want, it's all sitting right there. And the only reason you have issues with money, health, or relationship is because your soul came along and was like, all right, Joey, you're on this path and you're going to figure this out. And if you stay in the little I, that's where the pain is. But the path from the big I to the little I, in terms of your thinking, your consciousness, your healing, is what your soul's here for. And that's why our body will go out, our health will go, our relationships will go out, money will go out, because it's about moving from here to here. So for example, the little I can stay angry at our partner for whatever reason. A bit more advanced in my work is that everything outside of us is I. The big I, like capital I. Good question. It's like the letter I. So the I am consciousness of the divinity of who you are. Excuse my language, I'm going to swear, knows that you fucking rock. Presley knows that you could do nothing wrong. And knows that those little kiddos of you are going to be perfectly fine no matter what you do. Yet the little I has stories. The little I says, oh, like yesterday, my son said to me, I have a 19-year-old. He said to me, Mom, I want 3 more things for Christmas. I'm like, you've got my Visa card, go. And the kid gets, whatever, we can go there. And I said, oh, just text him to me because I'm baking you cookies. Just text him to me. He texts me and I'm like laughing my ass off this morning. Are you joking? Right? So the little I in me can feel guilty and not enough and what's wrong with me. And the big I is like, I love him and that's all that he needs. To get it? So the little I is the part of us that thinks we're alone, separate, and scared in some ways, and that we have to prove our worth. That's something that comes up a lot during the holidays. Another thing that comes up a lot during the holidays is stories from childhood, right? Because we're back around our family, we're having more time off. And it's not like those stories from childhood ever go anywhere. But whether or not we realize it or not, especially for those of you in my deeper containers, whether you emotionally react from that PTSD from childhood is a choice. The nervous system is going to react. Okay. So if and I love my parents, don't get me wrong, but when I'm around them for a long period of time, my little girl comes out. But the more work I've done on myself, I can now spend time with them and not have those same triggers as much. But those nervous system triggers will still be there. But the choice to react or not with that same response is a choice that you develop. Because that little I in me, that little person in me, still has that wounding. Got it? But the big I doesn't. Got it? So if you're around your parents, they're driving you crazy, you're around your siblings, driving you crazy, you can feel that wounding. What you don't realize is the big I in you is not wounded. The big I in you knows you're whole and complete and incredible as you are. But the little I forgets that. So all the work is about moving from here to here. And the big I in you is just like peace and quiet and calm and allowing that mother, father, sibling, friend to be whoever they're going to be and not getting wrapped up in that pain. And that is the work. Got it? Because little I is a character that you've developed. And I'll teach one more thing before I open to Q&A because they're saying there's lots of questions, so I trust that. Like eventually what you'll start to realize the more you do this work, this might sound, I don't mean to make this sound rude, but don't please hear it this way. The little I is just a robot of all your stories. It's like when you were growing up, you got a RAM system put into your brain. And okay, so when men do this, this happens. When women do this, this happens. When somebody 2 years older than you does this happen. And that RAM functioning wants an upgrade. Because the big I in you is not, to show me, give me a specific word, is not supercharged or like wired to go, ah. So all the responses is a normal protective mechanism. They want me to teach one more thing. They say, teach that next time. I'm like, okay. They want me to teach about defense constructs. How many of us feel like we have to walk around our families or through the holidays and defend ourselves? Anyone feel like they have to defend themselves? Yeah. So like, and those defense walls are defense walls. And for those, and I'm not beating up Americans, don't hear it that way. I'm Canadian, but we're just as equally as fucked up. I'm joking. And I swear a lot, so I apologize if that triggers you. So I haven't traveled the whole world, but as far as I know, the country that has the most guns is America. And what's the least safe country to walk in? The mall, because you might get shot. I jokingly say that. Right? And the point being, defense walls, and that's nothing against America, don't hear it that way. Defense walls only hurt one person, and that's you. And capital letters, and this comes from A Course in Miracles, nothing to defend. And that's hard for us to get our head wrapped around because the little I feels like, it's not safe, it's not safe, it's not safe. But if you think of the big I, where you can never be hurt, never be shot, never be killed, you are completely safe. So I'm working on a book, and after I wrote my last book, I'm like, I'm not going to write another book. I'm writing another book. So I'm working on this book, and I'm talking about the ego construct versus the divine construct. The human construct is you can die and you can be hurt and something bad's going to happen. The divine construct, and this is hard for our heads to get wrapped around, is that you don't die. You can't be hurt. You're infinite wealth. And I mean, I don't expect everyone to go there right away, and I work on it every day. But when we realize that nothing can actually hurt us, then we can actually start to take the defense walls down. And this is advanced work, but it's sharing with you, okay? Defense walls only hurt the person that they're on. And I'm actually teaching this in the Return to Self container on Tuesday. The defense walls, it's like you're holding a thickness against the universe saying, nope, I don't trust that person, defense wall. But that's the little I in you that has a story. And for those of you guys that were with me in the Forgiveness Month in November, it's in the school community as well, just so you know, it's all there. Defense walls, it's a process to take them down one at a time. Got it? One at a time. And the more we take them down, the more we connect with the divine I am, which is freedom and joy and love and bliss. Because believe it or don't, no matter who you're interacting with, you've got your defense wall up and you're like, I don't trust you. The big I in you knows you're perfectly safe. Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. And it's understanding that takes work to go here from here to here. And they want me to say one more thing and I'll pick the Q&A, I think. There's a big fancy word all over social media in the work I do called boundaries. And I'm not saying boundaries are wrong. But when you get here, you don't need boundaries. Because the only thing you are is the divine I am. But boundaries is like an in-between step between here, don't trust, to here. But it's in between. And eventually you'll get here where it's like, I don't need to wall up to you. because I'm not scared. There's nothing to be scared of. So I'll just start with that. Up to Q&A coaching, because my guides keep saying they have a lot of questions. I'm like, okay. So who wants to start us off? All you do is you go down to the reactions button. The reactions? Yeah, reactions button. You throw up your hand where it says raise hand, and then I'll open up to Q&A. And keeping in mind, whatever question, Nina's going to start us off in a second, whatever question Nina has, what I always find in every container I teach, especially retreats, the question Nina has, everybody has a part of their mind that can shift from her question. Hey, Nina, how's it going?
Good. Hello, everyone. Thank you for that. Actually, my question is in terms of the I am, I think maybe it's a repeat question. I'm just maybe working through it in my head, is how do you step out of it in the small I am, like with the thoughts running and running? Because I've noticed now with the holiday season being less busy and being home at more, which is nice, but now I'm really reflecting and like questioning and like breaking down the walls, but having trouble stepping out of the little I am, the small I, to the big I to observe. Does that make sense?
It does. Can you give me a specific example? If not, I can answer it.
I don't really have one. I don't really have one. I'm just noticing kind of like in terms of trying to manifest for 2025, like I'm being grateful for things that happen and the challenges in 2024 with the lessons, and really realizing in this month that there's so much to be grateful for. And I have expanded. That was my word for 2024 so much throughout the year. And then in the month of November and December, a lot of challenges were sent my way, which now stepping out of it, I'm realizing that was for me to close off the year because I'm going deeper and like into the work. But sometimes I'm getting stuck in the observer mode and like being stuck in the story. I think that it was really present with when Arthur was sick, then we all got sick.
Right.
I just felt so and I was saying that so anxious. And I think that was my question, but I was like kind of in and out and I wasn't present, and I realized that. Kind of, I don't even know what my question was, but yeah, about the chakra system and the solar plexus of like that self-judgment, other people's like stories, putting it onto myself. Yeah. I don't know if that felt like that was a tangent. I'm sorry.
But let me see. When we're in the big I am, we are just holding the essence of love and peace.
Mm.
There you go. You felt that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Okay.
That's it. Do you remember when Arthur was less than a year and he didn't have words yet?
Mm-hmm.
And he was just in that place of, I'm going to watch you, Mom. I'm going to watch you. Where's my toy? He was more interested in the Christmas wrapping paper than he was in the toy. That's the place of the big I am.
Right. You're just there. Yeah. No, I feel that.
Does that make sense? In presence.
Mm-hmm.
And that presence that we're talking about is available all the time. So a lot of times in this work, they say that you go back to the younger mind where there aren't stories. So imagine what life would be like, Nina, if you didn't have words.
Yeah. It's kind of nice, but not nice. Because like I'm seeing Arthur with his more words trying to communicate and getting frustrated because he's trying to find the words. But before, yeah, there was none of that.
And you probably could communicate with him perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Right. I know our son didn't start actually having words till he was 3, which is actually quite old, as you know. I didn't worry about it because I could communicate with him. I could do speech therapy. I was like, I'll come right up. But it was so nice. And the communication is like the less we can speak, the more the communication is going to happen.
Mm.
And you just got that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And for us explainers and fixers, that can be challenging. But it's allowing ourselves to just, they're showing me a picture of like dropping into our heart and just being that stillness.
Okay.
Observing. And that's how we stop reacting all the time. Because the reaction is like a safety mechanism that we've created to keep ourselves safe.
Yeah, that actually totally makes sense. Everything you're saying, I've been getting those messages actually from spirit, like all these messages of building that ability of stillness in the moments. But then I'm like, oh, what's next? Instead of, it's okay, it's all going to happen.
Well,
that's faith.
That's the crazy shit, right? Let me just go into your manifesting question. That's a crazy shit, because When you are I say just, in the I am God witnessing consciousness, that's what, because the bigger part of you, if you have not read the Abundance book by John Randolph Price, he talks about this a lot. The
Yeah.
I am in you is constantly bringing to you what you need. And that's
Yeah.
hard for us to imagine. Abraham talks about, like, imagine that you call downstairs in a room service for grilled cheese. And you're not going to like go call them downstairs and say, hey, did you get the cheese? Hey, did you get the butter? Hey, are you cooking it? Right? Because you know it's coming. So manifestation is just like calling and saying, hey, I want grilled cheese. And then just sitting back. But the hardest part is to sit back because we think we have to do something. But when we're,
Yeah.
yeah,
Or I've noticed if I'm trying to sit back, but then if it doesn't happen right away, then I'm like, oh, I'm not doing enough. Kind of like sitting, like not taking any action. Like, and we talked about this before versus I'm like starting to really play with that, having that blind faith in the I am of it is going to happen. I just got to trust it. Like you said, call for the grilled cheese and be in the moment and it is going to happen. I'm just having that switch as we're talking, like
I'll teach
that
one.
reminder. Yeah.
No, exactly. You hit it right on the head. I'll teach one other thing. Between here and when the grilled cheese shows up in your house, the gap, the universe is using that distance of gap to teach you the lessons, so to speak, for lack of a better word, that you need to learn. And those lessons don't come in your inbox like, hey, Nina, work on this. The lessons come in as your husband and you fighting about something. The lessons come in as you criticizing and judging that person. The lessons come in that way. But we were ignoring those lessons. We're like, where's my grilled cheese?
Yes. Well, I've been getting those lessons, the patience and yeah.
Right. And anything that triggers us on the outside, because I know we talked about this in the healing lab, anything that triggers us on the outside is us.
Yeah.
It's just us. And that's where the forgiveness comes over and over and over again. So yeah, does that help?
Yeah, no, it helps. Yeah, no, as we're talking, I'm like, oh yeah, you've been getting those messages and clearly every day. And you know it. I'm just always when you talk, I always have questions. So then I ask them.
I'll say one more thing specifically for you. You know,
Yeah.
they keep telling me to say to you, you're exactly where you're meant to be.
I know. I need that reminder daily because I'm always like, come on, shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Well,
That's
welcome
what,
to
yeah.
being a child of immigrants, right?
Yeah,
Right.
I know. I know. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, yeah. Any other comments, questions? I know there's a lot of questions because I can feel it, but either you guys are too shy or just want me to teach. But they're like, my guys are like, I can totally teach for like 3 hours and not repeat the same thing. So let's just.
I just have a quick question. It's Tina.
Yeah, Tina.
Do you want me to talk to you about what I texted you today or tomorrow?
Oh, tomorrow.
Tomorrow. That's right. And we're meeting at 9, right?
Return to Self is meeting at 9 tomorrow. Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, that's perfect. That's what I thought.
Cool. No problem. Hey, Joey. I thought it was you. I was going to call you out if you didn't put your hand up.
Thank you for that, Dr. Divi. Thanks for having us. And, I just want to follow up with, I guess she just jumped off. What Nina just said kind of resonated in the fact that she wasn't even sure how to ask the question. That's kind of where my hesitation comes from. With the defense complex that you mentioned and the defense walls, I felt kind of defensive. So Saturday I had a Christmas party. My wife and I are expecting our first baby, and we're really excited and really just this is our first holiday around family. And so her parents are very understanding of we're crunchy mom and dad, and she wants to go natural birth and has a different idea of how our baby has a different idea for us, and so her parents' family is really very traditional medicine. They're not the healthiest of people, but they question us as I'm a nurse, she's a PA, like we are in healthcare. And so it was interesting because they said, oh, just the normal auntie questions like, oh, what are you going to do for your birth? What's, all the things. And then they're like, oh, like you're going to do a natural birth. And like, what, like, well, that's like, what are you taught, and so and then I was telling the story to my friend at dinner last night, and it was just I realized how much it rode on me a lot because it affects my wife. I know that like with hypnobirthing, there's a lot of mental preparation and things like that, and you need to get those fears out, and you want to avoid those other negativities. And so my goal is to kind of make that resonate as much with other people, not related to birthing so much, but with like the family. They're pushing their agendas, questioning yours, and the judgment and defense around it, I guess.
So
So I don't,
yeah, no, there's a question in there, but it's looped in. Can I ask
yeah,
you, do you mind sharing me your wife's first name?
Jackie,
Jackie. Jacki or Jaq?
Jackie, or Jacqueline, Jaclyn. But yeah, Joey and Jackie.
That's so cute. She's not afraid, is she?
I think she's got some fears going.
Okay, got it.
First pregnancy, no, or excuse me, she doesn't want the epidural, but it's like she only has all the stories, all the negative stories.
And you're planning a home birth or hospital birth naturally?
Hospital with a midwife who has very good control of the situation in the hospital. So they kind of leave her alone. So we're going to be in pretty good control, but natural at the hospital.
Okay, so the first thing I keep hearing, and you can tell this to Jackie, she can listen to the recording if she wants, obviously. Just tell Jackie she's not in charge. Okay with that?
Yep.
Do you know if you're having a boy or a girl?
Baby girl.
Okay, cool. Have you named her already?
Sloan Marie.
Oh, I love that. Sloan.
Yes.
She's got a lot of feistiness to her. Her birth is going to be her way, not your way.
I know.
You're in trouble. I'm joking.
No, I'm with you. I appreciate that.
She's got two sides for one that's really sweet and one that is going to have her way the entire way. If that makes sense? Okay, cool. No. So her birth entry is going to be exactly like she is as a child, as a human. Okay. So she fights her way here. I would tell Jackie, hey, we're not going to fight this. If you need an epidural, do you know what I mean? Because when you're a nurse, you know how it works, right?
Yep.
Sometimes too much pain stops the dilation. I mean, I don't need to tell you that, right? And I keep hearing, tell Jackie to listen to her body, listen to her body, listen to her body. You okay before I jump to the defense walls?
Yeah.
Okay. All defense walls. So Jackie's family, all defense walls. The reason I ask for questions is because now I can teach deeper onto this topic. All defense walls are a form of protection from that person's story. To get it? Stay with me. So I'm making this up. Let's just say Jackie's sister or sister-in-law, whatever, knew somebody who had a horrible birth. And what humans do, and I love humans, but humans forget that each person's on their own journey. Got it? And we read too much. We know too much from the internet and word of mouth and all that stuff. So we hear the story as a horrible birth over here, and then we personalize it and create a story and a defense wall. But defense walls are a way that the ego uses to be right. And that the ego in Jackie's sister or sister, whoever was sharing that stuff, the last thing the ego wants is for somebody else to be right. Do you get it? And it just becomes this. But just because you're in these conversations, the choice to recognize is that's that person. And I know you know this. That's person's journey. And in that person, they actually think they're helping you. And I know you know that. I know you know that. But you don't have to fight your way into what you want. I don't know. How does that feel before I keep going?
Good. Yeah, like it was to finish the story of me telling the story last night. It was, and she helps women find their true aligned self. I don't know the details but she's into the chakras and all of that kind of stuff. But she was like, "Who are you trying to explain yourself to?" Or like, "What?" And I said, "Well, I'm not." It wasn't like I was trying to explain it's just we were in the conversation. She was questioning us and we were like, well, this is how we're going to do it. And so, yeah.
Bang on. And the thing is, and especially because of the other work you do with diabetes patients, try to explain to somebody this is the way you're going to do it is, they're saying back up. I'm going to teach that back up. So everybody's got a resonance field. Does that make sense? A resonance field. And I could say this, like, home birth, or you should go for exercise or whatever. And if it resonates, the person will grab it. If it doesn't resonate, it'll go away. And what the studies are with new thought systems, the studies show that a person needs to hear something new 7 to 10 times before they grab it. Kind of make sense? And that's what marketing statistics shows. That's the studies show, is that it takes that many times to hear it. But what often happens is, depending on the person's soul journey, this is the key thing. Some people's soul journey is to drop the need to be right. And a big part of soul work is to get into the big I am, where you don't need a defense wall. Are you with me still?
Yeah, you can continue, but like I feel like I have a real need to be right big time
Got it.
because I am. Okay, I'm joking, but yeah.
And so I'm talking to you, that's hilarious because the guys are just talking, so I'm talking to you. And the need to be right, all they're showing me free. If it's you that I'm talking about, is like the 10-year-old in you, because they're saying they're circling you now. And before when I went to Q&A, Joey, just so you know, they kept circling your face. I'm like, I'll grab him if he doesn't put a stand up. The 10-year-old in you needed to be right because of whatever is going on in the trauma of your childhood. And being right was like a safety valve. It was, oh, I'm safe. Does that make sense here?
Yeah.
And you carry it right in front of your heart. And guys, just so you know, everybody's got it to a small or big degree. I have to be right because I have to get an A. Like, fuck, guys, I always have to be right? Because then dad loved me more. Then I would get a lollipop. Then I wouldn't get yelled at, right? And so it becomes a safety defense mechanism that we all have. How is that feeling, Joey, in your body?
Definitely makes me want to think deeper about where that came from. And I mean, I've always been a smart kid, high achieving, and I think that it could be like, just like with your example with the grades, like I always got straight A's and I was always incentivized to get straight A's and, even just like, money or things like that. So, uh, but yeah, it's with that, it's defense for my wife too, though, like the protective,
Yeah.
like step off, ladies, and we don't need to hear your negativity. And we know better than you do. Our daughter is going to show us what is right. You know what I mean? Like, so, uh, but yeah, it's all of that defense and like being right.
And so I'm going to you're okay if I keep going? You're okay?
Yeah, please.
So, like, you remember I was saying to Nina a minute ago, she asked for grilled cheese, and the grilled cheese is over here, and there's a journey in between. Got it? So let's just say you've asked for 1,000 clients over here, 100 clients, 10 clients over here, and you're on the journey in between. And I said to Nina, and I'll say to you, the universe shows you that journey in between because they've got the 10 clients over here, but you're in the journey. And so then this like head to head 2 days ago, this feeling of these defense walls is the universe saying, drop these, and then we can bring you the clients. Kind of make sense? So let's go a bit deeper. Tell me, you okay? You're sure? You're okay? I forget. Yeah, they're saying, yeah, just keep going. What happened when you're 8 years old? What was like? Just tell me what life was like. Mom, dad, brother, sister. What do you got?
Really good family. Parents were very supportive. Third grade was Miss Milliken's class. You remember those things? But no, I mean, really good family. I have a brother, and he was a year older than me. We played roller hockey, chess, uh, great grandparents. Everything was golden.
And 10 years old, same thing.
Yeah, fifth grade,
Okay.
chilling.
And so, have you done some inner child work before?
No.
Okay, go. That's what this is. And I love you. Yes. So before I keep
Yeah.
going, what the human mind does, and everybody who's hung out with me a little bit longer knows this, or not even longer, but just, okay. What the human mind does, the brain does, is it creates like a wall between us and the inner child wounds, because the wall wants to think childhood was perfect, which is a defense wall. Like it's a way of functioning and coping. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But our 0 to 100 reactions, like the 0 to 100, when you're older, 20, 30, 40 years of age, tell you a window. Here's the wall, here's the structure to survival. So we don't remember the childhood wounds. The 0 to 100 reactions are like a flashlight into what's back here. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. And so I sometimes, not sometimes, I often use my intuition to tell you what I'm seeing. So they're showing me 8 to 10, specifically 9 years of age. It doesn't exactly matter what's happening, but I'm going to ask a question. Who is smarter? Who is more loved, you or your brother?
Interesting. I think I was. I think I was, but it's funny. Like, I guess just sidebar. I've
Yeah,
always, I've never been against inner child work. I've just never tried it. But
totally.
it's also kind of like it's easy to think like, well, everything was good, so why would I try and bring up something that wasn't really there, right? So I'm open to the fact that,
Hunter, and you hit it right on the head. But
yeah,
the reason you're on this call, the reason that happened 2 days ago is because what are you defending to be right? Get it?
yeah,
And they're saying 9, 9, 9. So 8 to 10. I see pictures for a living. Okay.
yeah,
It started younger, 3 to 5, but whatever, it's matter. So you were busy getting the attention unconsciously. You didn't even know you were doing it. Because on a subconscious level, you got addicted to the approval of the accolades from your mom.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I mean, as parents, and you'll see this very shortly, Joey, and parenting is so much fun because you can watch you screw up your kid. It's so amazing. It's so fun. It's so fun. But it's like, you're like, oh, that's really funny watching them, create the story in their head. But like, I keep showing you at about 9, you were like running for their approval, because what we don't realize when we're younger is our parents represent safety. And a lot of times your parents were great and amazingly safe. But now that you're older, you now understand these concepts very well. And you know that the only reason to get true safety and love is in the connection with yourself, and the divine, and so on and so forth. And in your quiet, right? And in yourself. But when you're younger, you don't know that. So they keep showing you like a dog salivating. You're like salivated looking for that attention. And I think we can all relate to this. And then it became, okay, I'm going to get good grades. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And that's why you will have this need to be right. Does that make sense? And that's also why you're a nurse. That's why you're a head nurse. Like, to get it. That's why you're really good at what you do. And there's nothing wrong with it. Like I always say to people, shadows have a plus and a negative side. There's a plus side, but there's a negative. How are you feeling right now?
It's good. I've got a lot to put together, but like even in that conversation, leaving dinner, my wife, because I told her about our talk in Mexico,
Right.
and because I was perceived as maybe taking things a little too seriously,
Okay.
and she was like, maybe Divi's right. Like, are you? So she brought you up, but yeah, that's helpful. I mean, that's completely, it makes sense in all those regards. So yeah.
And what I will say to you, and having being somebody who can really relate to you, this part of your brain is how do I say it? This part of the ego doesn't want you to see the inner child wounds from a safety mechanism. But it doesn't, you don't need to dive into it, but it's like, oh yeah, there's a part of me that da, 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 da. And what I've discovered doing all the work I've been doing this work is that what came up a few days ago with the family, that starts to get more and more uncomfortable, right? Because now I'm making this up. Now she's 3 years old, your little girl. And I'm making this up. You want to send her to Waldorf, and everybody else is like, no, Waldorf sucks. You should send her to Montessori. Then they're like, no, Montessori sucks. You should send her private. And you're like, fuck. And it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, right? But it's the universe's way of saying, hey, Joey, do you want to heal this party over here that always has to be right? And what I always find is that our partners and our kids get to have like almost windows into those parts of us that aren't healed, because they see it every day. I don't know. How is that sitting?
It's wonderful. Definitely a perspective that I was hoping for. I need to like look deeper.
I'll give you one more piece of homework if you're open to it.
Please.
Just spend some time journaling. So one technique I teach with inner child work is imagine that I was I describe it like I'm a journalist, right? And that's really the rest of our lives. Like, you never ever end up being done figuring out what those wounds are. So imagine I'm a journalist to my 9-year-old, right? So adult Joey says, hey little Joey, what did it feel like being having Big Brother who did XYZ? I'm making this up. Then you get quiet, still close your eyes, and maybe switch pen colors. I don't care. And then little Joey says, oh, I was always racing for mom's attention. And you'll find stuff that's going to come out of your pen that you don't even realize. This is a technique actually that Alexander taught me. Got it? And because him and I taught a shadow class together years ago, and he taught that technique. I'm like, what a great technique, but it really works. Is you talk to that version of yourself, and through automatic writing, you get access to what that part of you said or thought. How does that feel? So it doesn't have to be confrontational. It doesn't need to be hard. You're just like, I wonder what it was like when.
Yeah, and I that's super helpful. I move way too fast. And I have all these great ideas of slowing down and really thinking. It's like reminder to everyone, like it really is just like I need to slow down and actually just take some time, not a ton of time, 15 minutes, right? Something like that, and just let my mind come out.
And Barbara brought up a really good point. Barbara is somebody I've trained, and she actually volunteers and helps me out with the work I teach in my classes. She wrote in here, I was going to ask, she's super intuitive. She wrote, I was going to ask what Joey's brother would say about him at 9 years. That may give you some insight.
Okay. I like that. Thank you, Barbara. And thanks for the reminder too.
And just so you know, they are saying it started younger at 4 to 5, but you might not be able to access that. So when people start doing inner child work, you're however old you are now, go back to 20, go back to 15, go back to 10, right? And like that's how we go back in time, right? To kind of get because those wounds keep repeating themselves.
And just to tie it all together, or maybe tie it together, but just another thing too, I've noticed with my father is like, I don't, I've always sought approval, I guess you could say, but I've always been good enough, so to speak. And so now that I'm starting my own business, now that I'm doing something that's not 401k benefits and all those things, it's like, hey, Dad, I'm starting this business. He's like, all right, cool. Good luck finding people. And I'm like, hey, Dad, I got my first person. He's like, okay, cool. You better deliver, and it's like, can you not just like celebrate with me once, like, and it's not his safety net of like the same that he's used to. And so I guess that has been challenging for me as well.
And I got massive goosebumps because that's the source.
Got it.
That's the source of one of the woundings. You would be good if you did what mom and dad said you would do.
Right. Yeah.
And that then creates this hyper fight, flight, or freeze. Then when you decide to have a home birth or do whatever you want to do on your own, do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
You're taking that wall down and deciding who you are, which is why when Alexander and Dad talk about becoming an entrepreneur is actually a spiritual journey, because you're actually diving into your own stuff. That's what they're talking about. Does that make sense?
Wonderful. Thank you so much. 2025 is going to be crazy.
I know. Congratulations, by the way. What's your birthday? Like
April 20th.
Oh my God. That's so
So yeah, it's on, and thank you. It's so funny. You called it. Like everything you said about Sloan, that's what it is. And she's got a daddy who's gonna melt over her. But yeah, little spicy one and cute and sweet, but it's on.
I know. So let her birth be her birth, okay? Regardless of what you guys think. Sounds good?
Thank you for that reminder. I appreciate it.
All right. Lots of love, Philly. Take care.
Thank you. Likewise.
Hey, Deborah. How are you? You're still muted. I think you know that.
There I am.
How are
Yeah.
you?
I'm good. I was fighting to get on my laptop with my Zoom, but it's my story of tech. Thank you. Thank you for this. As I'm listening, I thought, oh, I'm good. I don't have any questions. But then I thought, no, actually, I have this huge little eye.
Okay.
And my huge little eye, my big eye that's trying to grow, is recognizing this really significant time of what I am in, just for shifting and changing my ways. And this is going to go deep here. My little eye, the thing I need to deal with, and I think I've discussed this with you once before, is a collector of little precious things. We live in a small home, and I need to declutter. I need to let go. And this morning, your verbiage, your sharing is just like, whoa. And I've known it even building up to this. As my husband and I were having this talk, and I was saying, over Christmas, it's quiet. We don't have a lot going on other than our one family day. And I have to commit to this for myself. But I go into the biggest anxiety, and it's not pretty. And yeah. So I guess a huge defense walls in all of that. Like, and very much my big I knowing, my little I believing that, the financial situation is going to change for us. We are going to have our own home, and probably sooner than we can see right now. But that's what we're believing. So I'm always saying, no, I might want that for this, So that's enough verbiage. You get the story.
Okay.
You would read all that.
All right. So you may not like me. I'm cool with it if you don't like me. I'm fine with that.
I love you.
Okay. With the one I'm about to say to you.
Give me the shit straight
Okay.
on.
At about, again, same thing. It's like 10 to 15. This is where the story started. That if I have this, whatever this is,
Yeah.
then I am safe. Stay in your body. Okay. And that's why it's hard for you to get rid of stuff, because you have a false perception that that stuff, it's funny, it's coming through my throat, is keeping you safe. And that's the wound. It's all through your throat chakra, which is my throat is going.
Yeah. Why does it stick in my throat chakra? Because I wasn't allowed to speak?
Possibly. I don't know why, but I know it's in your throat because somebody's like strangling me right now. But probably because you weren't allowed to speak, and also because, oh, they just said, and also you didn't know what you wanted. So it was like, and forgive me for saying it, but they're saying she doesn't know what safety is.
Yeah.
Stay in your body. So a lot of women and men do this. We outsource our safety to our partners, then we outsource our safety to our homes, then we outsource our safety to our kids. This is all in your first chakra. Got it? How is this feeling?
I'm loving.
Okay.
I'm loving teaching me. And that you say all of that is in my first chakra.
Yeah, which is the very first base, the bottom one. And it's hard for us to imagine that we're safe without this product or this thing that we're holding on to.
Yeah.
That's why it's bringing up anxiety. Do you get it? Like anxiety, it like logically doesn't make sense. I got to get rid of this, so I'm going to feel anxious.
I know. It's just
doesn't
like
make any fucking logical sense.
It's the stupidity already, but yeah.
Well, stop. Yeah, you don't even think of it as stupid. It's just, it was a safety mechanism that you believed this was going to keep me safe.
Yeah.
Got it? And a lot of women do it to men. Men do it to women, like as partnerships, right? This bank account's going to keep me safe. This home's going to keep me safe. Bullshit.
Yeah.
The only safety lies in your connection to your God self.
Yeah.
And you, like a lot of us, weren't taught that at all.
Yeah.
So they keep saying 15, 15. So whatever the thing you first got when you're 15, that's when you created this wound. They called it a spicy wound. That when I have this, I'm safe. When I have this, I'm safe. When I have this. So what I would suggest you do is two things. One is some inner child work, to journal from that part of you. It's inner child day. It's weird. Journal from that part of you, like I was saying to Joey. But then the other part is the bigger part that's actually more important. Well, two more parts. Connect to your God self, the divine I am, which I know you're working on every day. You're very connected to your female. Like, frig, there's a large goddess behind you. And then forgive yourself for the thought that something outside of you, whether it be a house or a partner or these trinkets, are going to keep you safe. Yep. Those are the 3 steps we need to work on. I don't know. How is that sitting?
Yeah, that's good. Connect with my child's, can you say those one more time?
Sure. So number 1 is inner child work.
Yeah.
And you can get, there's lots of books in inner child. In the healing lab, we do an inner child section.
I feel doing inner child work since 93.
Okay, so you know inner child work. I don't need to explain that. Inner child work, but specifically focusing on the 10 to 15-year-old kid. The second part that I don't know if you've done enough for a lot of, there's a massive female goddess energy behind you. She's got massive wings on her. She's right behind you. So we got to connect with her more. That's step 2. Because inner child work only takes us to a certain point until we connect to the non-physical part of us. I call this box 3 of the work I do. Box 1 is thought work, box 2 is shadow work, inner child work, and box 3 is God self work. So this goddess behind you, so we have to connect with her, and then connect when you just felt her. When you connect with her, then you have to do the forgiveness work, forgiving myself for the thought that this thing outside of me would keep me safe when you're the only thing that's going to keep me safe.
Right.
And that what I just described, that those last 2 steps can take people months or years. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to say it's going to happen over the holidays, but that's the antidote to the anxiety.
So in you saying those, and thank you for repeating them, the massive female goddess behind me. And you, at one time I said, I don't know my guides. Like, I don't help me. You said, got this huge bright light, like a Mary figure standing in front of you. And you were told to tell me that was me. So sorry, that has helped me a lot in connecting, really massively. That's just like maybe a month ago, but I realized that this is my key, that I'm still, it's the, who am I? Where, like, I want to get to this spiritual part of me, and connecting with that is connecting with this large goddess behind me.
And the forgiveness work, right? I'm just, for the holidays, I'm releasing a year thing on Course in Miracles, like videos every day.
Yeah.
And I can say for Divi, it took me a few years of studying ACIM before it was like, oh, okay. Like, because it's just like you've done inner child work for years. Do you see what I mean? It can take time.
Yeah.
So don't expect it to be a miracle, but now you know the origin of the pain.
Right.
You
And
get
that's
it?
going for, because I was always looking at much younger child.
Right.
So that's extremely helpful. And you said really the spicy wound was at 15.
Yeah. 15 is when you create a story that this is going to keep me safe.
All right.
Got it?
Extremely helpful. All
Thanks, Deborah.
of you.
Love you too.
Tell me straight up, and I will love you for it.
Only way they talk to me is straight up. So
Don't talk, sir. What are you saying? Too much of that confusion in my thing.
thanks, Deborah.
Thank you so much. Have a great holiday.
You too, hon. You too. Hey, Judes, how are you?
Hey,
You got it.
okay. So my question is, I want to move to Austin,
Yay. Okay.
and how much of it, so I feel my little I am is like doing plan A, plan B, plan C, and I'm getting confused in my head because I don't really want I don't want to go there with my nursing license, but not there up with my own uh self-employment work yet with plan B, and then plan C is like partnership, but then I don't know what to do with that. So what should I do? How do I connect with the bigger I am?
First thing that they're saying, Judes, first thing they're saying is know that a part of you is already there and that you're not in charge of the timing. Okay with that? Just like I was saying to Deb a second ago, she now knows the steps, and I don't know how long it's going to take her. Does that make sense? To get there. So same thing. You're not in charge of the timing on this one, which is going to piss her off. They said it's okay. And try. It's really easy for me to say it. I always see to say I see pictures. But like tell her she's not in charge of the timing, and tell her to try to let go of control. And she can always try plan A and plan B and plan C. And if they don't work, it's not the right timing. They keep telling me the first thing they said to me is tell her a part of her is already there. And what they mean by that, I said, what do you mean by that? They're like, whatever Austin represents, freedom, ease, fluidity, find that first and then the path can open. So let me explain something. When I try to teach people, especially with January coming up and New Year's, let's just say I want this, and this represents moving to Austin. Okay. And then I have to write down what are the emotions it's going to give me. This is going to be, I'm making this up, freedom, luxurious lifestyle, I don't make it up, connection. Then what I write down those emotions, and then because I don't know how to get from here to there, correct? Right? I don't know which route to take. What I always try to teach people, and this is how I've changed careers 3 or 4 times in my life, and this is the technique I've used, and it works every single time. I go into the emotional nature here, and I spend a lot of time there. Got it? So because emotions, so how manifestation works is manifestation works by the emotion is the magnetizing force, right? Which is why they talk about manifestation in January a lot, is like, do the vision board and get to the feeling place. No one gets to the feeling place. The feeling place is the magnetism of the right path. Does that make any sense to your brain, too?
So envision being there and then evoke the emotions of being there.
And what you think going there will give you that you don't perceive you have now.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you're in that feeling place more regularly, then they just show me light bulb, light bulb, light bulb. Like then I just saw like a whole bunch of lights going off. They'll be like, oh, fuck, that's so obvious. That's the path. And you can just keep walking into walls without that energetic thing. And if you don't do the energetic thing, you're not going to end up there. Does that make sense? Because just like Joey, he wants to go from where he is to where he's going in terms of his coaching business. He's got to move through some stuff. Got it? You have to move through some stuff. Got it? And one of the big things you have to move through, and I can relate to this because it's funny, you and Joey are both nurses, is understanding that you're not in charge. And there's nothing that makes us more feel like we're in charge than being a nurse or a doctor, right? I can do this. But all they keep saying is I have a symbol for, like, when you're paddling a kayak, it's like, let go of the kayak, you're not in control. Or kayak paddle. How does that feel?
I can do that.
Okay, cool. and just keep doing the visualization. But the key I want you to do is, what is the feeling? And I would go into that feeling every day, 5-10 minutes every day. Got it? Go into the feeling every day on purpose.
Mhm.
Does that resonate?
Yeah. I actually enjoy that more because all the planning is so much in my masculine. It's exhausting me.
I love that. I love that you love that. And then you're going to find yourself really easy. They keep showing me spring, spring, spring. They keep saying February, March, February, March, February, March. I don't know if that February, March it's going to manifest, or February, March you'll like figure out the way. I don't know. So does that help?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, dudes. Awesome. Let's do a quick closing meditation just because I have to run. Let's do a quick closing meditation. Take a breath. As we move closer and closer to Christmas Day, 2 days away. Welcoming in the big I, welcoming in our guides, our divine support team, our angels, our ancestors, all these energies of love. Knowing that the journey into the holidays is the journey into our souls. Take a few breaths here. And then as you feel guided, go and open your eyes. Nice work, guys. It's so great to see everybody. I will be here again on Monday next week. So sending you guys lots of love. Enjoy your holidays. Have fun, guys. See you soon. Bye, Linda. See you guys.